Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we're starting to see some USB Type-C power banks hit the market that offer very fast charging rates through their USB-C connectors. I just got in this one the other day from Lenovo, and you can get about 45 watts out of its USB-C port when you're just using the battery, which can be very useful for rapidly charging a phone or powering a laptop when you're out in the field. And we're going to be taking a closer look at this one in just a minute. This is something they're selling to Lenovo customers, but it does work with many other devices as well, and we'll take a look at some of the things that I was able to work with it in a few minutes here. Now, I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, this came in free of charge from Lenovo. However, all the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Nobody is paying for this review, nor has anyone reviewed or approved what you're about to see before it was uploaded. And Lenovo recently sponsored our trip to IFA 2019, and I've got a link to that coverage down below in the video description. So let's get to it now and see what this device is all about. So let's take a closer look now at the hardware. It weighs about 0.6 pounds or 290 grams, so it's not all that heavy. You can stand it up like so or have it sit flat. Now, the battery capacity they rate at 14,000 milliamp hours, and that would be a comparison you would make to typical USB chargers. However, USB-C operates at many different voltages and amperages, so it's really important to start looking at the watt-hour rating for batteries. This one is rated at 48 watt-hours, which means you could probably draw power out of it at its full capacity of 45 watts for about an hour. But just know that when you do charge your computer or phone off of another battery, you do lose a lot of that capacity to heat. So it's never a one-to-one between your laptop battery and this, but still having this with you, especially with an Ultrabook or something that doesn't have a large battery to begin with, will certainly give you a lot more battery that you'll have with you, and it's not all that heavy either. So I think they've put together a nice package here. And I'm often more comfortable buying name brand batteries than I am power banks from brands I haven't heard of before. And we're seeing a lot of horror stories about USB-C voltages not being set properly and bad things happening to hardware as a result. So there's some peace of mind, I think, that comes with a name brand power bank. This sells for about $80. I'm seeing it on Lenovo's website for a little bit more, but if you shop around, I think about $80 is what you can expect to pay for it. Now, they're marketing this at people who already own a Lenovo computer, but I'm finding that compatibility is far greater than that, because if you've got something with a USB port on it, this will charge it. And as an example here, I've got my Pixel 3a smartphone that Google sent to us a little while ago. I'm going to plug it into the USB-C output on the battery, and we're going to switch on the battery here to begin the charging process. And you'll see here the phone has responded, and we're getting the notice here that we're charging rapidly via USB-C power delivery. And if my camera focuses here, you can see we're drawing about 13 to 14 watts out of the battery right now to charge the phone at a faster rate. So if you have a USB-C fast charging phone, plugging your USB-C charging cable into the port here on the battery will get you a much faster charge than you would off of a typical USB power bank. Now, there's also two regular USB ports here on the battery. This battery is not a hub, so it will only charge things through those USB ports. There apparently are some batteries out in the market that also double as hubs, but this one will only charge things on those USB ports. Now, each port will deliver 5 volts at 1 amp, which means that it's not going to provide the kind of power that you would get from a tablet charger. So if you plug an iPad into this, it'll charge a little slower than it would off of its own AC adapter, but it should be good enough for phones and other devices that are expecting that 5-volt, 1-amp connection. Now, there are 3 different ways to charge the battery. You'll notice that the USB-C port and these other 2 ports have a little plug icon next to them, and that means any one of these 3 can be used to charge the battery pack. Now, because they are marketing this to Lenovo customers, this is where you would take your Lenovo power supply and plug it into that port there. That will charge the battery. And then what they have you do is take out an adapter cable that's in the box, namely this one, and you plug the USB-C bridge cable into the other end of that cable. So what we can do here is grab that USB-C connector. We're going to plug the USB-C end of that into the USB-C output, and then we would plug this into our laptop to charge it or provide power to it. Now, the way the battery works is that it will provide power to the laptop in addition to charging the battery without a penalty. A lot of times they don't recommend that you plug in your battery and then charge something off of it. This one actually regulates the power, so if it's not charging the battery, it'll put all the power directly through this cable into your laptop, which is a pretty nice design. But what you can also do with this, if you don't have a Lenovo laptop, is take that same adapter we were just using. You could plug that into the power port here and then connect up your USB-C power supply to it. So right now, if I plug in my Apple power supply through the Lenovo adapter, you're going to see the battery is now charging, and that frees up the USB-C port that you can use to plug in another device. So it's really flexible, and even though these adapters are Lenovo adapters, both of them have a USB-C connector on the end of them, so you can charge off of any one of these 3 ports, but only the USB-C port here will provide power output. You can also, if you want, if you lose the adapter, just plug your USB-C power supply directly into the port, and power will then flow back into the battery. So the USB-C port here can output power or ingest power, depending on what you have connected to it. Now, they say you can charge the battery fully in under 2 hours because it supports USB-C power delivery. We did a little test with my meter a little while ago, and you can see what it was drawing there, about 30 watts. You'll probably draw a little bit more when the battery is further depleted. So overall, pretty fast to get it back up to full capacity. It's not going to be an all-night thing. Again, it'll charge off of a USB-C power adapter or one of the Lenovo notebook adapters. Just make sure you have one that can deliver 45 watts, otherwise you won't get 45 watts into the battery. Now, we also tested output a little bit earlier with my MacBook Pro. We killed the battery on it and plugged it in to see what it would draw. We were getting about 40 watts out of my meter. My meter is not the most accurate thing in the world, so I think we're probably running fairly close to the advertised capacity of the battery, so that was good to see. We did notice, though, that when we were hammering away at that USB-C output, the USB-A ports dropped their output by about a volt. You can see it here as we're plugging and unplugging things here, and that power drops. So you will charge a little slower off of the other ports if you're really drawing a lot out of that USB-C adapter. But typically, depending on what you're doing and what you've got plugged in, you're not going to be drawing the full 40 or 45 watts all the time, especially if you're using an Ultrabook and maybe just topping off the battery or something. So overall, I think it's a very nice little power supply here, and it's great to see some of these batteries now making use of what USB-C can provide from an overall wattage standpoint. So I was quite pleased with the output capacity of this. This is not the only battery out there that will do this. There are others there as well, but this is the first one we've tested, and it's very encouraging to see that you can get a decent amount of power output from a battery when you're out on the road. And again, very useful for folks that have phones that fast charge or are using laptops and Ultrabooks. So that's going to do it for this look at the Lenovo USB-C power bank, and I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. And until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold-level supporters, the 4 Guys with Quarters podcast, Chris Allegretta, Tom Albrecht, Mike Talbert, Brian Parker, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/s.